say now, you're never gonna want to hear me say again.
That's because we're half an hour early.
Look at this, huh? A couple of tables, a bench, pretty harmless. Platform, a few chairs, pretty harmless. Pretty soon they'll be full of jurors. They're pretty harmless, too. Most of these people, I meet them on the street, and they say, hi, how are you? You got kids, you got IRAs, you got mortgages, or maybe you don't. But right now, you hold Brook English's life in your hands, and I gotta convince you to set her free.
Trevor, if you want, we can go across the street to the cafe and grab a cup of coffee. You must be awfully tired. You didn't sleep very well last night.
No, I slept okay.
You tossed and turned till 3 a.m.
I'm sorry. Next time I'm tossing and turning, I'll sleep on the couch.
You will not.
Sounds like you're the one that needs the coffee.
If you think that you are going to slide from between our sheets and sleep any place else but next to me, you are sadly mistaken.
Bad idea, huh?
Very bad idea. What's going on inside that head of yours?
I love you.
I love you, too. But that's not it.
I don't know. Maybe it's not having Belinda here. You know, I'm used to looking over, seeing her right there. She's like my right hand.
Trevor? Brooke could not be in better hands. I know that as well as I know my name's Janet Dillon.
Well, right now I feel like I'm in good hands.
Look over your shoulder and I'll be there. If you need encouragement, I'll give it to you. And if you need a kick in the pants, I'll give you that too. Just know that I'm there for you, now and forever.
Oh, I feel like I got a kick in the pants. I think I could win this case in the Supreme Court.
Oyez, oyez! The Court of Common Pleas is now in session. The Honorable Judge John Foster presiding. Please be seated.
Good morning. I trust everyone is well today. Since there's been an unexpected time lapse since we last convened, I'd like to remind the jury that they are to disregard anything and everything they might have heard or read about this case outside of this courtroom. That said, we will proceed with this trial. Mr. Dillon, are you ready?
Approach, Your Honor.
Mr. McLean, very well.
Your Honor, because of the time lapse, I'd like the opportunity to remind the jury of the prosecution's testimony they've heard thus far.
Your Honor, that's for closing arguments. If McLean here gives the whole McGill, it's like him getting 2 bats to my 1, plus we'll be here forever.
I'm inclined to agree. You'll have your opportunity to summarize your evidence during closing arguments, Mr. McLean. Now let's get moving, shall we? Proceed with the defense's case.
That was a nice try, though.
The defense calls as its first witness, Miss Dixie.
Both of your marriages ended because your husbands cheated on you. Did you know the woman that Adam Chandler slept with?
Yes.
Can you state her name for the record?
Dixie Cooney.
And the woman that Tad Martin betrayed you with?
Dixie Cooney.
Everything just reminds me of Jack and Mike.
Forget him, Erica. Men are pigs. My boyfriend just ran off with my Chinese herbalist.
Oh, that's good.
I'm sorry to hear about that, too. Oh. Excuse me for a moment.
Yes, that's right. Yes, Ginger. Yes, Ginger.
That you would have done anything to keep him, to prevent being betrayed like you were in the past, especially by your own daughter.
That's a lie. It's a terrible
Objection,
lie.
Your Honor.
You shot Jim Thomason because you weren't
That's
good enough.
insane.
You shot him because you weren't hot enough. You shot him because you weren't young enough. Isn't that true? You shot him because he was leaving you for greener pastures. And he was not going to do the walkaway, not like the others. Isn't that right? So you picked up your gun and you shot him.
No.
Isn't that the real reason why you shot Jim Thomason?
No! I was trying to protect my son. I didn't have any other reason. I shot Jim Thomason because he threatened my son. Son, I of you have children. What would you do if somebody threatened to hurt them? You'd stop them. You'd stop them no matter what.
Your Honor.
That's enough,
The only
Miss
reason
English.
he's asking these questions is to provoke my client.
Sit down, Mr. Dillon. Miss English, please limit your answers to the questions being asked, without outbursts or editorials. Do I make myself clear?
Miss English, have you ever heard the expression, hell hath no fury like a woman
Oh,
scorned?
objection, Your Honor. The only reason he's asking that question is to taunt my client and incite the jury.
I'll withdraw it. I just have one more question.
Yeah, we'll make sure it's a question and it's not slander, pal.
Mr. Dillon, while this is my court, let me decide what's proper cross-examination. Kindly be seated. Okay.
As partners in the ownership of Tempo magazine, you and Edmund Gray and Jim Thomason shared the same financial considerations, correct?
Yes, but Jim Thomason became a partner in the magazine only at my insistence. The magazine's
when he was
ownership...
your lover. But let me finish my question. On the death of one of your partners, you would stand to split a third of the magazine, worth anywhere from $5 to $10 million.
Yes, but Edmund and I didn't have to
Miss
share
English. Thank you.
a third of the magazine in the
further
first
questions.
place.
You've answered the question, Miss English.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Well, old McLean did himself proud, didn't he?
Mr. Dillon, you wish to redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. Big time. Boy, oh boy, that was rough, wasn't it? You can answer the question.
Yes,
You really lost it, didn't you?
I'm afraid so.
You and I have been working very hard on this for quite some time, haven't we?
Yes.
I just need to ask you one question. As my client, could you tell me how I'm doing? Because when my client gets up on the stand and does everything I tell her not to do, this lawyer gets a little insecure, you know what I'm saying?
Your Honor, this is redirect.
Mr. Dillon.
When you insisted that I put you on the stand to tell your story to the jury, what did I tell you?
You said I shouldn't get emotional.
Did I tell you why you shouldn't get emotional?
You said it would make me look guilty.
So when you got on the stand, you already knew that if you went flipping out, it wasn't going to help you, right?
Yes.
So why did you do it? I mean, we'd already gone through all the questions that could possibly be answered. Was it a situation when the questions finally came out of Mr. McLean's mouth? They struck a new nerve or something like that?
No.
Or did you all of a sudden realize something new, like, oh my God, I was jealous, I am afraid of losing Mr. Thomason, that's why I shot him?
No. That's absolutely false.
You're not going to lose it now, are you?
No.
You just want to tell the truth so bad, don't you?
Yes.
When you called Thomason and lured him to the Chandler Gallery, was it because you were afraid of losing his love?
No. I knew he was a hateful man. I knew he was incapable of love.
Was it the fact that he was a hateful man? Did that drive you to shoot him?
No.
But you did have a gun in your hand. Now, why was that again?
Because I was afraid of him. Also, I wanted to intimidate him. I had confronted him about finding the luggage, other lies he told me, and he never took me seriously.
That can be very frustrating. To not be taken seriously? Is that what drove you to shoot him?
Oh.
Or was it because he told you that he had killed your best friends, Dmitri Merrick, Edmund Gray? Was that what drove you to shoot him?
No.
Was it because he told you that he had killed Laura's natural birth mother, And that you convinced Laura that she had done it? Was that what drove you to shoot him?
No.
When the man you love, a business partner, your fiancé, the man you were going to marry, brags to you that he knows where your son is and that he will exploit him sexually, is that what drove you to shoot him?
Yes.
So when he turned to go, was it at that moment that you realized that if you didn't stop him with that gun in your hand, that he would in fact molest your son and carry out all those threats against your little boy?
Yes.
Please, Miss English, search your conscience. In your heart, in your mind, did you have any other motive to kill Mr. Thomason?
No.
Thank you, Miss English. No further questions, Your Honor. The defense rests the case.
Closing arguments will proceed swiftly and with a minimum of histrionics. Yes?
I think Trevor got the jury back with that redirect. That wasn't enough. Brooke needs something to go her way, and she needs it now.
Didn't. You just wanted me to be with my son again. You don't regret that, do you?
No. I'm glad that you have Judy back.
Something. What? What now? Your Honor, we wish it could be otherwise, but I just found out this information myself.
Your Honor. You're talking a surprise witness now?
Your Honor, these proceedings have become a trial of the victim. The jury has gotten used to hearing words like monster, pornographer, child abuser, directed at someone who can't even defend himself. Mr. Dillon's entire defense is based on the assertion that Jim Thomason was responsible for his own murder.
Objection, Your Honor. Counsel cannot use the word murder.
Dillon, the jury isn't hearing any of this, so let's just calm down. And Mr. McLean, my dear wife drags me to the opera each year, and I hate it, so please spare me the melodrama.
Yes, sir. I am asking, in the interest of all fairness, that I be allowed to rebut the vilification of Jim Thomason's character.
Mr. Dillon, the basis of your objection to this witness?
Oh, Your Honor, let me count the ways. He wasn't on the witness list. I didn't get a chance to interview him. His testimony could be explosive. We don't know that he really is who he is. It could take us weeks to explore that. Doesn't the court see that this is merely an exercise by the prosecution to concoct the defense with an unethical procedure?
Now, I object. Mr. Dillon's slanderous characterization is way out of line.
Let's take 15 minutes. I'll be back with my decision.
All rise. Hey, Mr. McLean, could you tell us anything about the basis of the jury? About the basis of the jury?
It's me to interrupt. The judge is coming back with a decision.
All rise.
record. I don't like surprise witnesses. In fact, I don't like surprises of any kind, particularly in my courtroom. But while I appreciate the defense's objections, I see a need for balancing the portrait of the victim. Therefore, I will allow Mr. McLean his extraordinary witness.
Your Honor, the defense so appreciates your sympathy in this matter. I was wondering if you had any suggestions as to how I could possibly conduct a cross-examination.
Well, after the testimony, I'll recess for the day, and you'll have all night and most of the day to prepare.
Your Honor, should there be an appeal of this case, I would like it to be on the record that your ruling here will be the centerpiece of that appeal.
Duly noted. We'll hear your witness, Mr. McLean. Let's have the jury.
Who in the name of God would testify for Jim Thomason?
Anybody who vouches for Thomason has to be as degenerate as he was.
Well, let's hope the jury sees that. Or it might be another nail in Brooke's coffin.
Is this beyond reason or what? I mean, are we really sitting here waiting to hear some man swear under oath to Jim Thomason's sterling character? What is the jury going to think?
Maybe there's a bright side to this, Phoebe. If the witness's testimony gets too bizarre, maybe Trevor can move for a mistrial.
What? And put Brooke through this treacherous, horrendous thing again? Shame on you.
Playing by the rules and we're getting killed. There's got to be a way to make them get it. Understand what she did.
On record again. Bailiff will call the next witness.
The court calls Mr. Robert Thomason to the...
In the White House, the president testifies, ABC Sunday. To find out what's coming up next week on All My Children, see?
Your Honor, I object to the relevance of this witness.
The state disagrees, Your Honor. Approach.
Counselors.
Mr. Dillon argued the relevancy of exposing the true nature of the victim's character, and then proceeded to parade witnesses in front of the court, vilifying Jim Thomason. I called a witness that knew the man better than anyone, and the jury deserves the right to hear his assessment as well.
Your Honor, I have not had a
Mr.
chance to check
Dillon,
his
we
background.
already had this discussion. Now, I agreed to hear this witness, and you'll have your opportunity to rebut during cross-examination.
I haven't even...
Overruled.
Proceed, Mr. McLean.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Thomason, Bob, could you please continue telling us about your brother Jim?
As an adult or a child?
Either. Both. Just take your time.
Like I said, my brother was just a couple of years younger than me. But he was more like a big brother after my accident. One day we were playing catch, and I ran out into the street after a ball, and I didn't see the oncoming car.
Is that why you use crutches?
Yes, I sustained a spinal cord injury that was irreparable. Jimmy was devastated no matter what I said, no matter what anybody said. He took it all on his shoulders. He became my nurse for a while, and my protector. If anybody came after me, they'd have to go through Jimmy first. Nobody ever got to me. If I ever needed any money for anything, I mean, spare change for soda or comic books or anything, he was always there until he was killed.
Would you like a glass of water?
No. Like, my brother put me through school, and I'm talking about college. Put me all the way through college. Never went to school himself until after he'd taken care of me. And then when he finally got some success as a photographer and as a partner in Tempo magazine, he bought me a home in Mexico. And he pays for my... He paid for my home care worker.
For the record, Mr. Thomason just contacted me last night. He's been out of the country. How long have you lived in Mexico?
3 years.
And your parents?
They're deceased. After my father died, my mother had a really hard time making it on her own. All she had was my father's pension. And there again, that's where Jimmy came in. I mean, he stepped in, he took over. He set her up in Sunset Village, his retirement community in Florida. Even gave me tickets so that I could fly back and forth to see her and to visit with her. He took care of all of us.
This is a very sensitive, caring portrayal you're painting of your brother.
No. Leading the witness.
Sustained. Watch it, Counselor.
Bob, how would you characterize your brother's actions towards your family?
He was kind. He was generous, he was thoughtful, he was the best brother that anybody could have, and a wonderful son.
Are you aware of the allegations made against your brother? Child pornography, arson, kidnapping, murder?
Yes, I am.
And what do you think of these allegations?
I think it stinks. I don't accept it, not one word of it.
Are these the actions of a man you say you knew better than anybody?
No. No, I was proud of my brother. And he never would have done any of those things. What those folks are saying are lies. Out and out lies.
I mean... Your Honor, whether this witness believes his brother was capable of committing these heinous acts does not change the fact that he committed them. Jim Thomason was a known pornographer. He was
He never would have done that.
Oh, says who? Says you?
Your Honor.
Lies! Says
Your Honor.
you?
Order, I say.
Your Honor, Jim Thomason was never convicted or accused of child pornography. The allegations came from the defendant herself and also witnesses for the defense.
No. Dimitri Merrick was your witness.
A hostile witness. The fact of the matter is, Jim Thomason was never accused of these allegations until after his death.
Mr. Dillon, your objection's overruled.
Your Honor.
Proceed.
Thank you. Bob, do you know if your brother has ever taken photos of children?
Yes. Jim took photos of children, of the elderly. He took photographs of lots of things. I remember once when he came to visit me in Mexico, I took him to this little village that was just dirt poor. He loved taking photographs of anything relating to the human condition. I have a lot of these photographs framed. Jim made things beautiful. He made pain and poverty melt away. He had a gift!
Overruled.
Bob, did your brother ever mention the defendant, Brook English?
Yes, he was devoted to her.
But you yourself have never met her?
I never had the chance. I was looking forward to meeting her and her family.
Do you remember the last communication you had with your brother?
Yeah, he wrote me a letter.
Is that the letter?
Objection, Your Honor. What is he going to pull out of his hat next? The kangaroo?
Your Honor, Mr. Thomason just became available, and there was no time to submit this letter to the defense. I therefore now enter it into state's evidence. As you see, the letter has been postmarked and therefore dated. Now, the victim's signature can be verified if the defense so desires.
I'll allow it. The objection's overruled.
Thank you. Bob, would you share with us the last correspondence from your brother?
Unlike every old song cliche ever written, but I'm engaged to the most wonderful woman on the face of the earth. Someone like this only shows up every million years or so. Her name is Brook English, and I worship the ground she walks on. Not only has she captured my heart, she's opened up the world to me. She's the most generous, thoughtful, and entirely beautiful woman I've ever known, and she loves me. Me. Thanks to her making me part owner of the Tempo magazine, we can live together and work together. My life is a miracle, Bobby. All because this lady's filled my soul. Enough poetry. I'll come back to earth. Her young son, Jamie's a fine kid, apple cheeks, and he is never still. I can't wait to become his dad. And her Aunt Phoebe is a good old gal. Blue blood coursing through every vein. I'll send you shots of everyone so that you will recognize them when you meet them pre-wedding. We haven't set a date yet, but we'll keep you posted. Last month wouldn't be soon enough for me. I only pray I can always make Brooke as happy as she makes me. Love, Jim.
A real monster.
Objection.
Sustained.
No further questions.
In accordance with the promise I made the defense, this court will adjourn for the day. Mr. Dillon, this gives you the evening, most of us tomorrow, to prepare for your cross. Mr. Thomason, you're excused until 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, at which time this court will reconvene.
All rise.
Forget about it, okay? Don't let him get to you, Brooke.
Please, as bad as it looks, we have tomorrow to cross.
I get what happened. I know it's bad. I appreciate what you're trying to do. I just need some time to process this before I go home and see my son. I don't understand.
Why did you kill my brother? The most decent man I've ever known.
We didn't know the same person.
You don't understand. He supported me. He took care of me when I needed him. He never hurt another human being in his life. And you killed him.
He did hurt people. He killed people. He used people who were weak and vulnerable. He was an evil man.
Shut up! Shut your filthy mouth, you lying murderer!
How about a comment? You said it's hard.
How's Brooke doing?
She's, she's keeping it together.
One of the bravest ladies I ever met.
Where is she? I'll drive her home.
She's in the witness room. She needs a few minutes by herself.
Yeah, no wonder. That Bob Thomason was creepy with a capital C.
Mr. Creep did a hell of a job for the prosecution. I got a lot of spinning to do with the jury.
Yeah, well, you can turn lead into gold, sweetie.
So I'm going to go over to Tempo, give the staff advice to run a full check on this guy.
Okay.
Good. Whatever you find out, Edmund, I don't care how innocuous it is, I need to know.
You got it. Listen, tell Brooke what's up, and then I'll call later.
Did you see when Thomason was on the stand? I mean, the jury just ate it up. Somehow, he has their trust. He has their sympathy. Be careful tomorrow.
Yeah. It's gonna be tough. Guy's disabled. If I go at him too hard, it's gonna look like I'm attacking him. I'll lose the sympathy of the jury, and that'll be it for Brooke.
Approach it very carefully. You can do it.
If I let him get away with canonizing his psycho brother, I might as well send Brooke to jail. Edmund better come up with some hard dirt on this guy, or I'm gonna be crawling up a slimy, sticky slope on my tippy toes.
Dad, you don't think they're actually gonna bump? Dad, you do have a...
There's some skeletons rattling around in that closet in Casa in Mexico.
The clean sure pulled a fast one.
Yeah, he sure did. He's good. He's got that grieving brother bit down good for the jury.
Poor Brooke.
Yeah. Now he's Scoutmaster of the Year, Thomason. Let's go home. Need a break.
So far, I haven't come up with anything.
Really?
Nothing that would do any good.
Kevin Newman, tomorrow continuing coverage of the president's testimony, plus in our back-to way to treat kids.
Really?
Treat kids with attention deficit disorder.